finally, just time enough left to speak to Mrigendra Chaudhary once more. Sir, we were, Hindol Da was just telling us about having an open mind when we approach history and not, make our ideological prejudices or ideological hangovers so stark that we just cannot see the truth lying before us. One evidence of this that I can remember is in the case of the Ram Mandir. We have just celebrated Ram Navami, and for a long time when the case was going on in the law courts of the country, there was so much evidence, there was such a plethora of evidence coming out about the temple, but experts of a certain viewpoint kept not only denying those evidence, they were just not ready to look at it even from an open mind. In the light of these developments, do you think this struggle for Kashi and Mathura, which also makes headlines from time to time, how do you think it is going to progress in that direction? Because both those cases are also now in the purview of the law courts.
I have told earlier that it is recorded in two ways. One is in the socio-cultural institutions and socio-cultural processes, and another one is the state-sponsored history. Whenever the foreign invaders attacked India, they first attacked the temples, the universities, all other architectures, so as to destroy the, what are temples, what are architectures? They are the recording of historical events and the culture of a country. So they destroyed the proof, evidence of the earlier history, and they they forced the country to adopt their own version of history. If you can see that number of sites in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, they were underground, they were out of the reach of the invaders. When they excavated, we got number of evidences that we have a very more evolved civilization. Then this is the case with the number of temples coming underground excavation, giving evidences in the support of the cause. In the Ram Mandira, we can see that in the socio-cultural milieu, we see in the scriptures, we have the mentioning of that Ram was born in Ayodhya at the site. But the evidences created by the invaders was like against that, like to create the masjid on that temple, that Ram was not born here, because you are hitting on the root of the Hinduism at the very birth of Ramchandra. So you are denying the cause that Ram was not born here. It was the blow on the socio-cultural system of the country. So with time, when people know that the cultural, socio-cultural processes which we follow and the system we follow, because one thing was that was out of the reach of the invader was that the people were learning scriptures in their homes. They cannot go to homes and burn that scripture. Where our culture has been preserved. Now there is a conflict between the internal familial scriptures or knowledge or stories and the outside evidences. The conflict will go on one way or the other, but I think in the future the conflict will go in the favor of the we can say the Hindu scriptures, all that, or the processes we are following.
In favor of the temples, you are saying, in the case of Kashi and Mathura.
We are reviving our history, we are creating evidences again that we were a civilization, we were like that, we have certain processes.
Fine.
And yes.
Point taken, Mr. Chaudhary, but I am afraid that's all the time we had on this episode this evening. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mrigendra Chaudhary, Utpal Kumar, Hindol Sengupta, for finding the time and for such an enlightening conversation in such a short time. Thank you, gentlemen. So viewers, as you just heard our special guests, it is one thing for kings and emperors and invaders to try to wipe out the signs of a certain civilization in order to establish their suzerainty, their hegemony. But experts, particularly historians, are expected to have an open mind no matter what their political affiliations. Sadly, this has not happened in our country. While we must avoid the street protests and political controversies, the effort to have the true picture of India's past is in everybody's interest. On that note, it's a wrap up on Media Scan for this weekend. Do join us next weekend for another episode on national importance. Till then, namaskar.